I'm going to throw 5 different coaches' names at you, and I just want your instant reaction to each of them. We'll dive deeper into who each guy is as this process goes along, but just your instant reaction, what you know about them, your gut instinct on if they would be a fit. And we've got a clock that will show us the 55 seconds to keep us time on task. So we'll start with the hot name for all Bears fans, the sexy X's and O's offensive guy, one Ben Johnson out of Detroit, doing a lot of great things. They just set a record for most passing yards in a game, most total yards in a game, most completions in a game. So 55 seconds on Ben Johnson. Fire away, Lance Briggs.
Okay, Ben Johnson, really like the guy. I really love what he's done with the offense. I mean, he gets under center. You know, it's what he runs offensively would make me overjoyed in Chicago because they're running downhill. But remember, that is the Detroit Lions personnel, not Chicago.
Yep, no question about it. Now, how worried about the buzzword leader of men? Can Ben Johnson be a leader of men? He's watching Dan Campbell, the ultimate leader of men in the NFL now. But do you believe that Ben Johnson can be a leader of men?
Again, he's under Dan Campbell's staff. So does that mean that he's the leader of men, or is he the analytical guy? To me, most offensive guys are the analytical guy, and they just so happen to have a great combination of both with him and Dan Campbell.
There it is. And the clock has run out on Ben Johnson for now, but I'm sure he'll have more time to have his say as the next Bears head coach. Next name I'm going to throw at you is somebody that is connected with Caleb Williams, and that is one Cliff Kingsbury, the offensive coordinator right now with the Washington Commanders, certainly having Jaden Daniels do some great things, former head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, and, you know, was shown the door eventually as he was trying to get Kyler Murray going. So 55 seconds on Cliff Kingsbury.
Listen, I like where Cliff Kingsbury is right now. I think he thrives at the OC position. The familiarity with Caleb is awesome. Like that as well. I just don't see him as the head coach. Now, maybe he's learned from being in Arizona. I didn't think that he had earned that Arizona job. I thought it was kind of laid out for him. But at the same time, he does really do well with these quarterbacks. He's an analytical guy, and we have done enough of those. We don't need any more analytical guys.
Right. And he's, he didn't directly coach Caleb Williams. Is there any concern that from a team standpoint, you bring in somebody that kind of is perceived as Caleb's guy and only Caleb's guy?
Listen, I'm going to say it just like this. Braggs, we don't need any more soft shit in Chicago.
All right. Well said. Well said. All right. 55 seconds have run out on Cliff Kingsbury. This is the 5 for 55. We're going to get on to the next name. You know, as we talk about leader of men, program builders, this is where we start to go down the road of some guys that have had success in the NFL. And this next name is an interesting one. Former head coach from the Tennessee Titans, Mike Vrabel. Your thoughts? You know, hey, former linebacker, comes from the Patriots way, gets some success in Tennessee. Now he's right now a consultant for the Cleveland Browns, but fully available to be hired here. 55 seconds for Mike Vrabel.
I like Mike Vrabel. I like the culture that he comes from. I like what he stands for. The thing about the Belichick tree, is that it doesn't have a high rate of success. It doesn't. You know what I mean? There's a ton of coaches that come from the Belichick tree, and a lot of them end up coming back to Belichick and hanging back onto that tree. Okay? Love Belichick. I love their culture. Not saying that that Vrabel wouldn't install the right culture. He's also going to install a different defense, so you're going to have to get the personnel in time for that.
Yeah, it'll certainly be interesting. I mean, this leader of men buzzword has Bears fans extremely triggered. I think they want somebody that's, going to make sure Caleb Williams is the right guy as the 55 seconds run out for Mike Vrabel. Well, you bring up the Bill Belichick tree. So let's get right into it. Man that needs no introduction here in this segment of the 5 for 55, Bill Belichick. The idea of Bill Belichick being the head coach of the Chicago Bears, 55 seconds.
Listen, if you're going to talk about culture and you're going to talk about the tree, and I just talked about the guys that fall from the tree and the percentage success percentage as a head coach, but the guy that's at the top of that tree, Bill Belichick, I really do like it. If you're going to change and go move to a 3-4 defense, at least do it with the guy that culturally knows how to get it done, and he will lead that room, have the respect of those players. You've seen how he has played with, has coached with Tom Brady. So that could work. That could certainly work. At his age, I don't know. There are still some question marks. Is he out of touch? Or certain things that Bill Belichick at, I don't know, 78, whatever he's at, can he still get it done in the NFL as a Chicago head coach?
72 years old for Bill Belichick. Certainly a question at hand. But you know what? He's on the Pat McAfee show. He seems kind of lively. We'll have plenty of time to talk about Bill Belichick. I've been triggering Bears fans because I've been advocating for somebody like that. I think that is exactly the right medicine that Hallis Hall needs, not just Caleb, not just the team, the coaches, the organization, the front office. George McCaskey could use a guy like Bill Belichick in that room because there hasn't been enough serious football people. But this isn't my 55 seconds. Yeah. This is the 5 for 55 with Lance Briggs. Final name to come across the waiver wire on Sunday. The one that caught the most heat was a lot of insiders, including our one very own Adam Hogue, was the first to mention his name as somebody that is being reportedly considered by the Chicago Bears. The head coach of Notre Dame Fighting Irish, Marcus Freeman, a young 38-year-old guy that is described as a leader of men at the college level. 55 seconds on Marcus Freeman of Notre Dame.
Okay, so we're going to talk about my young roommate, or not roommate, my linebacker mate that was drafted to the Bears back in, I think, 09, maybe, maybe around the same time as Poles, and Poles at the same time. Listen, I've heard great things about him at Notre Dame. And as a linebacker, a former linebacker, of course, I'm partial, I just don't know if this is the move just yet. I don't know if this is the move just yet. I'm surprised that the name Dave Toub wasn't brought up. I'm surprised that that's not a part of the 555. I love Marcus Freeman. I think he's doing a wonderful job at Notre Dame. And the next stop for him, maybe down the road, maybe be a good fit for Chicago. I'm just not sure just yet.
Interesting stuff here for our first ever run at the 5 for 55. And we'll have a lot more time to discuss all the different head coaching options. And I'd love to talk about Dave Toub as somebody that I used to advocate for. Every year at training camp, I would yell as Dave Toub was walking down the line as I was chasing you guys around to try to get autographs from. Dave would be walking by, and I'd always offer him my services as his agent to get him to be a head coach in the NFL because he did some amazing things for the Chicago Bears as their special teams coach, and he continues to do so for the Kansas City Chiefs. He flat out got them a win here earlier this year against the Denver Broncos through his preparation and the attention to detail and research that he does on teams.
Braggs, other than all the items that I signed for you when I was in training camp, when we were both in training camp, the other special teams coach, you know who the other special teams head coach is in the NFL right now?
John Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh. All right. We talk about a defense and a team that sticks to running and the culture of getting to the playoffs, playing in championship games. Okay, that's all I'm going to say.
Well, you don't see too many special teams coaches get the opportunity to throw their hat in the ring much anymore. But I guess the one thing you have to consider, I think they all understand the operation of a team because they have to pay attention to both sides of the ball and be ready to kick a field goal or punt or onside kick. Those are all things that affect both sides of the ball. And from a personnel standpoint, they work with both offensive and defensive players on special teams.
There's balance.
Yeah, there's a balance there. And so everybody's always looking defense, everybody's always looking offense, but very rarely are the special teams coaches considered. And to your point, John Harbaugh's done a fantastic job in his own right in Baltimore. As I said, we're going to have 2 months to really dive through this. I think it's interesting that you played alongside for a short period of time with Marcus Freeman as he came out of Ohio State and was at training camp with the Chicago Bears. So it'll be interesting to, as the college football playoff gets underway here in a couple weeks, maybe we can have a little more of a deeper Marcus Freeman discussion, even though I think most of us don't think he's a legitimate option.
Young coaches scare me, Braggs.
Yep. And I don't blame you there. I certainly want to continue to pick your brain as we go down this road. I'm a big Bill Belichick advocate. There's a lot of fans that literally want to throw me into Lake Michigan for suggesting we bring in one of the greatest coaches in NFL history or in sports history. Forgive me, Bears fans, how stupid of me. But you played against Bill Belichick and you saw how those teams were prepared. So I think that's a conversation for another day because I kind of want those conversations to be stretched out a little further. And we're going to have 2 months to talk about it so we don't have to beat our head against the wall today. And as you said, I think at this point we're all rooting for Thomas Brown. He's still got his first game to coach as the head coach here against the San Francisco 49ers.
We all silly like the mayor.